We're getting ready for our chakra one-on-one for Miss Leslie. Connect. Okay, so if I tag you, let's see if I could do that. Miss Leslie, live video, okay? And then your viewer, guess, tag.
And we're going to smudge today.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Does that work for you?
They need to. We're just prepping right now.
Hello, Santo.
Search
Nice
for
connections.
Leslie.
I brought music, which is good. Because what
Invite.
We're about the chakras. We're
You have to
about
click.
cleansing,
Yeah.
keeping them clear. And these are some of the tools that I use at home for that.
Tag Marichu. Tag friends. Oh, okay. So I guess I have to tag you. So I tag Marichu and I tag.
People in Messenger, but I've been trying just.
Well, you had 6 people already now.
Hello, everyone.
We're prepping right now for our. Look at those food. Jessica Cruz is watching. Do you know?
Jessica
Cruz. Hello. Hi.
Hello,
Listen
everyone.
to us. We're gonna have a nice, wonderful chat regarding about chakras. So we're gonna learn, and this is free for you guys. So take advantage of the reconnect, available at home.
So what we'll do is, and I shouldn't start quite yet, right?
No, not yet. This is just only trying, prepping for people
Yeah, bring
before we
it on.
start. I have a microphone.
Awesome, I don't. I have the big one. The big.
No, maybe you just.
You
I'm
were
gonna put
speaking about.
Oh yeah. Excuse me.
And we don't have to. We don't
Thank
have
you.
to do them now. But
No, I don't
brought-
have a CD.
Oh, somebody. had one.
Somebody
We'll find
says about the CD thing.
I
Okay,
will
I'm a
bring
little-
it next week. I forgot.
it. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I see
kind of
later.
behind
Yeah.
the power curve when it
I
comes
do,
to
I-
technologies.
I need to bring. I will bring it. Okay.
Okay, everything looking good? Perfect. And now I'm going to go to the bathroom.
So, Michelle, are you going to put this in there?
Yes. I believe Kaisen is supposed to come too.
Oh, wonderful.
So, Casey is coming?
Oh, that's the speaker I need. This is my new shirts. Look, I got Z and Energy, Yin and Yang, which is, oh, you're not wearing it yet.
I will put it on my lunch.
Oh, I'll put it on right now. But
Yes,
what?
And are we up there, friend?
I'm wearing
Oh, I also wanted to share with you guys that looks like I'm going to be speaking at an international conference on spirituality. I'm going to be talking about women's empowerment, or actually I call it empathic empowerment, because it's not just feminine, it's the feminine divine, but it is being incorporated by men.
speak up.
It is being incorporated by men in our society. And so I hate to say, it's not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Try it again.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Sons.
There
Got
you
it.
go. What?
Test. 1, 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to be able to talk real quietly. What I did today is we're going to talk more about the chakras, and we're going to get deeper into the chakras. And Jared had asked about smudging or clearing the aura. And there are a lot of different ways to do that. So what I did is I brought a lot of my little tools I use in maintenance of my aura. For me, the most amazing thing to do is take a triple salt bath if you want to clean your aura. It doesn't work the same way in the shower. You can do it with intention in the shower, but it's not quite the same thing. And I love your shirt. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Is that it? Studio? See?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Go ahead.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, I'm going to scooch over here a little bit so you can still see
You can
the
see.
chakra diagram. And we're a little bit early. So I
Yeah,
don't need
we're
to
still
stir it
prepping,
like that.
really.
Yeah, we're still kind of getting it all together here.
This is large.
Oh, did you get a ton of t-shirts?
Yeah.
Also, and in white too.
I don't
Awesome.
have any small. They're both large. What size are you?
Me? Oh, I'm a large. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yay! She's
Alright.
wearing a white
I'm gonna
one
set the microphone
too.
down for a minute. Oops, I see how close I have to get it down to actually talking to it.
I get it. I get it.
I will, yeah, wear this today.
You can put it down.
Perfect. Perfect.
Now we all have a ZN Energy Studios shirt.
Voila.
Show yours, Miss Marichu.
Come see. Come see us. We're lovely in our t-shirts.
We all.
What a beautiful space this is to work
Yes.
in too, folks. This is
Tyson
an
Tyson already got his.
Did he? Oh,
Yes. Yay.
Got the symbol. Got awesome. This is perfect. Okay.
Oh, I got more fruits. Please,
Okay.
We're still prepping.
Yeah, we're still setting up, folks.
Well, Mama.
And you can let me know if this actually looks better. It seems to be pretty good.
Wait.
Anyway, what I do is I've got a lot of little tools that I use for my own aura cleansing. And remember, intention on this is really, really, really important. When we hold our intention, anytime we're using an object, a sacred object, or any other tool that we find meaning in, that intention behind our cleansing is very, very important. I also use these tools to cleanse my home. And I'm going to show you some of that here in a minute. What happened to the ostrich feather? Oh, there it is, yeah. And some tools that a shaman can make in Mexico that I use for smudging auras. I brought some Mexican smudging materials. I have some white sage, I got rose water. Just a little bit and some Palo Santo.
What's that?
Yes, and chai. Chai to me is always healing. Chai heals me every day. My cup's right behind me. Okay, so
I can see you.
Sometimes I feel like I can't sleep.
It's off and on, but it's on.
Wonderful. Everybody's pouring their chai now. She's a good way to start. But I'll have to be up and moving around a little bit for this one. So we'll just do that without the Can we set up the camera angle so we still have the diagram in the back?
What?
Since the beginning.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah. Yes, I like to move around so that way I can see all the angles.
Oh yeah.
I'll be your camera woman and listen.
You should always show how beautiful the space is to work in.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to put the mic down for
Ooh,
so
don't.
Use your hands a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to
Going to
write
make it
some
black.
poems on it, some angel work from South America. And this is purifying. The sage we're going to be using and some of the smudging we're going to do is we want to cleanse the aura. This is kind of like purification. So I'm just going to, what I do is I light it so it takes a little bit to light. And then if you blow it out, it smells different. It's really strange. If you don't blow it out, and let the flame go out by itself, which I'm about to light it, I'll set this up. It takes a minute. And I buy this, they send it to me from South America, and I actually brought one for everybody in the group here with us today.
Thank you, Robert.
To figure out how to do that online. But it does take a little bit to light it, because it is wood. And then I just use a little bit of red candle wax, because red for me is love.
Oh,
So I use a little red candle wax, and that way I can set it up in the bowl and let it burn that way. But I usually count to about 25 to get this lit. So it takes a little bit of doing.
I smell it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is really an amazing, amazing scent.
Mm.
Okay, see, now I didn't blow it out, but now it's nicely lit.
You got plenty of one.
And I also, you can use any carving tool. In fact, I didn't grab one before we came in, Janet. But,
What is it?
You can do a broad leaf. You know, a broad leaf that's shaped like a feather. I use that.
Oh, okay.
And for purification.
Thank you, Mama.
So you can maneuver the smoke with the feather.
Look at Miss Marichu. I smell. What's that? What it does? Hi, Glenda.
It purifies the energies.
Purifies the energy.
So this will just burn for a while, have a burn out. It doesn't have to burn for a particular
Sa
amount.
Palo Santo, right?
Yeah, Apollo something. Yeah.
I don't. I think I like the smell of the sage.
Yes, the sage is wonderful too. This is different. This works a little bit of a different process.
Oh, okay.
I also brought, and you can get this in also like a brick form and a bowl.
What is that?
This kapal.
Papa?
This is from Mexico. This is a
From
cleanser
Mexico.
they use in Mexico. And
What it does?
same thing as sage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is just a Mexican
Okay.
version of a sacred plant that helps.
I have a question, really quick. People think that we're doing witchcraft in here. So can you explain that a little bit?
Okay, yeah. No, this is not witchcraft. I call this intention work. Okay, and we've talked about how the connection between the mind and the body. All right.
Oh, the microphone.
And coming to the realization that
Thank
our
you.
mental processes affect us physically, not just physically, but they affect how we perceive our reality when we're running blocks in our chakras. So when I talk about intention work, I'm talking about a mindset and an intention. Like when I wear this crystal, I wear this crystal with the intention of not absorbing others' energies when I'm teaching or working with energies. Because it doesn't benefit me or the person I'm working with to absorb their energies. I need to be able to read those energies and help them in whatever way possible to remove any block that they have around a particular chakra. I'll give you a chakra today. And, no, so it's not witchcraft. Witchcraft is working with wanting to make your goals and using herbs and oils and candles and that sort of thing. I don't consider this witchcraft because I'm working strictly with spirit. This is very rarely about my personal goals in life, other than I do want to hear what I can do for spirit and what I can do on the planet, okay? So witchcraft a lot of times is a self-goal-oriented activity where you may be putting your will into it. And when people speak of witchcraft in negative ways, they're speaking about one individual wanting to impose their will over another individual. All right, in other words, if a witch wanted to cast a love spell on somebody, all right, a lot of times those types of spells, if they're not done in a very conscious way, are manipulative, or they're drawing from the wrong centers of the body because we're attached to an outcome. The work I do in using all of these things is I use my intention through sacred spiritual objects that I've acquired all over the world. And they have a very special meaning to me and totally connected to spirit, to source, to God. And I work in that way always. It is in alignment with God and in alignment with spirit on this planet to help. So if you can understand the difference between the two, both of them often will involve an internal process of goal setting. But the difference is the mechanism. And when someone tries, just like using the word you should, okay? That, if you really wanted to break it down, could be called witchcraft. You should do that because what you're doing is projecting your will on another person's actions, okay? So a lot of times when we're talking about working with objects, we're working with objects that may seem witchcrafty, but we're not working with them with the intention or the goal to manipulate our environment. We're working with these with the goal of raising consciousness, vibration, and understanding of what we really are here as a part of God and the expression on this planet. Does that help a little bit?
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of times we will find, and even when you begin to do your own work on yourself, that you may be blocked in some part of your body. And if you are blocked in that body, you may be presenting your energy or your flow in a way that is manipulative because you actually have an agenda attached to it. What we do in spirit,
yes, I'm sorry.
how I see
My phone
this,
is
is I have no agenda other than I get a lot of information that I would like to share because it has made my life much easier and my understanding of this reality much easier. And maybe this is a good moment to give you a little bit of my background because I just had to write a bio for a conference I'm going to be in. And that gives you a moment to sit back and self-reflect and say, how do I really want to present myself in this moment? I have been on a spiritual journey most of my life, very unconscious about it, very psychic, very in tune to energies without really any understanding of what that was. I have traveled internationally now with healers and with indigenous people, worked with shamans in South America, I worked with shamans in India, I worked with amazing heart healers there. I work with a beautiful mentor who is now currently in Mexico, who's been practicing for over 50 years. The work I did in Peru initially not only was work to grow myself, but also showed me my connection to a lot of the cultures and the beauty of that part of the world. And I actually did grid work. We work on the energetics around the planet, helping to balance the grids. And when we do that, we help the collective to gain insight also, because everything that all of us do goes directly into the collective consciousness. I do this with Janet. I do radio. I speak passionately about the awakening empaths because it's been my process over 60 years and taught me a lot and brought me to a much better place in my life than I've ever been before. The conference I'll be speaking in is the first Parliament on Spirituality. It'll be broadcast in November. They're picking 200 speakers worldwide. My daughter, believe it or not, Madison Cheshire, and I have both been selected to speak for the North American end of the talk. I will be speaking on
connected.
I will be speaking on women's empowerment, but I don't like to call it that. I like to call it empathic empowerment because many of the people who are presenting on the planet in male bodies are finding these intuitive connections to themselves. So let's see, what else? So yes, I've done a little television, I've done a little radio, I did some television back in 2000 about the experience with the ring, which I shared with you after our first, after our first talk, and I can share more stories with you. I've been very blessed.
Disconnected.
Sorry about that.
Not a word. I've been very blessed in my reality. Very, very blessed. I've looked back at my past, I've judged a lot of my life ego-wise and thought it was negative, and now as I gained insight and awareness, I found that no, none of that was a mistake. Every bit of it meant something very important. So yes, we work strictly with spirit. It's not about manipulating the will of another. It's about presenting information, and you can take it, what fits, and use it, and what doesn't fit, you just put aside. So yeah, so now, once these ladies get settled here, I'll start talking about the chakras, and I might do even a little bit. You know, could you do me a favor? In my purse, hold on, I'll have to.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a pair of glasses. If you pull stuff out of there, I've got a pair of my readers in there so that I can look at my notes, even though I made them like size 18. So, and if you'd like to know more about me, I've traveled to Peru, Ireland, worked with Mother Mary Energies, Peru, worked with the South American indigenous people. They're beautiful, beautiful. Mexico, where my mentor is, and beautiful healers out of Germany come and work quite often in the Yucatan. I'm trying to think, there are a couple more, but they don't come to mind at the moment. And it's been a process, it's been a journey. I was thinking about it, I started about 7 years ago, and I'm looking at where I am, where I was before. I would never be speaking publicly to a group. I wouldn't have had the fortitude or the courage to do so. So that's what I was talking about, is awakening ourselves, our understandings of ourselves, and how we present in our reality, realizing that it's so interconnected that we are an intricate part of how we're going to see that reality. And I talked about checking into the collective and pulling down only negative things. If I'm only in a negative mindset, then that's all I'm going to attract, because it's all I've opened my mind to see. So I also will talk on the perceptual fields and the mental processes of the psyche, so that we can get away from some of the paradigms and dysfunctional thinking patterns that we've been indoctrinated. Not, it's nobody's fault. It's culture just moves in a certain way, and then we're indoctrinated to things that may not be as highly functional for us as we thought they were. So now I'm going to have to set the mic down, and I'm going to ask both of these ladies to stand up, and I'm going to, if we can figure out a way to get it in the frame, talk a little bit about smudging while I smudge them. I'd like to, is there a way, Janet, you can hold the camera? And,
Oh, I'm just getting your music and then.
oh, perfect. And if you stand up, I will show some of my tools and how I usually go about this. So we've already had the angel wood, we have that burning, that's nice. So we have white sage, and she has some small sticks, so I went ahead and brought a larger one. I'm going to set them like that. All right, so what I've got is white sage. Again, I'm just going to light it and get a good smoke going. And I always have something to catch the ash, because when you do this with people, you're going to lose a little bit of ash, or if you're using one of these to clean your house, which I do often, smudging the house, the corners, the closets, the small closed-in areas.
Yeah.
So you've got a way to catch anything that might fall there.
Should I go outside? Go outside?
Well, no. We should be okay in here. But I was going to say, if you want me to do you here?
Yeah.
We have to figure out how to maybe get you in the frame. You need to be standing. See if we can get you on there. You need to be standing. Okay. And now there's one way to do it like this, and just move it around. What I like to do, and I brought several tools here, is this is just a feather I found around the house. Right? I know it's kind of strong. We can set it outside. I'd like you to turn around for me and get the back too. So you can use a feather, you can use a broad leaf. I've used those when I've been like in the Yucatan. And just brush off all the chakras. This is just a cleansing. Are you ready? You want to do this?
Yes.
Okay, and what I did is I just covered her like from head to toe. Yeah, you should do your feet. Because you have a chakra there too. I think there are actually over like 85,000 chakras total in the body.
I need to be balanced.
There you go. And then what we're going to do is I use the feather. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something else I have here. This is a tool I made while I was in Mexico with a shaman. And it's turkey feathers and some other local bird feathers. And this is another way. I like to use this because it has a lot of intention in it and a lot of healing energy from my work in Mexico. Okay, and lift one foot. And the other. Okay, and I did a pretty good job myself. Alright. Went before I came. So, we have, oops, I'm going to have to fix my feathers there. But we have this, which I made, which I used to smudge with. We have this that I just found. I found a feather. I'm going to set this outside so we don't, this is a small room, so we don't smoke ourselves out. And it'll go out on its own. Okay. Now, I also have been gifted beautiful things. So, here's another tool that I use. This is a white ostrich feather.
Wow.
I didn't even know there were albino ostriches.
Huh?
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
That
It's
is
absolutely
pretty.
Beautiful. This I use through the house,
Oh, okay.
just to stir energies. You know, like if you have a hallway, a lot of times with energies, we can start to, we can, oh, sorry. We can talk about feng shui too.
Much better.
At some point in time. But I'll just wave this around the house or up into corners or in my closets. You know, just a light, airy, breezy. It was gifted to me. It's beautiful.
That's pretty.
Isn't that amazing? This is turkey feathers, the smudger that I made. This is copal. Now this is like a white sage. This is what they use in Mexico a lot for cleansing. And I got it in
It's like a candle.
say again?
Candle.
Yeah, it's almost like an incense. It's a big incense. And I
smell
really like the smell of it too, but I don't know if you want to do it in a smaller room.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because with it's like white sage. It's going to be very strong.
Wow.
Key West. But I wanted to show you that we have a lot of different options for this. Okay, and I believe a lot of you are familiar with rose water. A lot of, this is also South American, Mexican, and it is a beautiful water that actually smells like roses. And if you can open it.
Yeah.
And it, you'll be doused with it as a cleanser. So there are a lot of different traditions about how we can clean ourselves. Yeah, I know it's strong. You
Smell like alcohol.
Yeah, it is. It has alcohol in it. You don't drink it, but you. And it's got a beautiful scent. It smells like rose. It's rose water. Yeah, it's strong.
What do you do with it?
You sprinkle it on the body.
For what?
This is cleansing again. We're still talking about different ways to cleanse.
Cleanse me.
And what a lot of people will do is put some in their hand.
Cleansing myself.
Yeah, put some in the palm of their hand and just kind of.
Out a little bit.
Yeah, sprinkle it all around you.
I want to get one of these.
Oh yeah, they're not that hard to find. I think some of the shops here in town that carry more spiritual stuff, and jewelry and like that will carry the rose water.
Oh, smell good.
Yes, I know, it's beautiful.
Oh, smell good. Look, smell like perfume.
So, we wanted to talk about smudging. These are some of the ways that you can smudge. I also brought, when you're cleansing your environment and you're charging your home and your environment, natural light is very important. Music is very important. Somebody that I have met who is an absolutely wonderful man and has been an energy sound healer for many, many years, produces these CDs. And these CDs have the sacred frequencies in them, 432, 528, 731. These are all frequencies that we now know work well with the chakra frequencies in balancing and cleansing. So, here are probably 5 or 6 ways that you can clean your aura in the process of a day. If you are struggling a lot with conflict in your life, or you have troublesome people in your energy fields a lot of the time, we'll talk about it more when we delve deeper into the chakras too, but we'll talk about the cords that people connect to us when we're in relationships and dynamics. And we'll talk about that, and this is actually called opalite. I don't know if you can see the beauty of it.
What is
the
that?
light. It's opalite.
Okay.
And this is used to cut cords.
Cut what?
Cut cords. And we'll talk about that a little bit, how when we are in will battles with people and stuff like that, that they're actually connecting to our energy centers in the body and drawing energy from us. And that's not necessarily a good thing. You can have people hooked up into a system and be aware of it, and it can be a more beneficial thing, like hooks through heart with the children and loved ones and that sort of thing. But you don't want them low in your sexual areas, or you don't really want somebody attaching to your root chakra. These are places where your energetic flow and home need to stay focused, and people will connect with you and then try to draw from those centers. So this is one of the tools that I use if I'm corded. Somebody has put a cord to me that is not comfortable or is not functional or isn't in a positive way, you can cut these cords.
Oh, that's
And
dangerous.
Yes, and I can tell you also how to do this mentally, how to design your own little ceremonial. I have a rainbow saber I use, which is not in real life. It's part of my intention, and in that way I program it so that it leaves the cords that are healthy and only cuts the cords that aren't.
Oh, what is it?
So we're done with that, and you didn't make it last week, so I'm going to do a little bit of a refresher.
Rewind, please, because I'm not going to listen to it again.
Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the root chakra.
Yes.
We're talking about the root chakra. We're talking about our connection to the earth. This is the center of manifestation, all right? It's the pelvic floor and the first 3 vertebrae, all right? Now, when we are in a place where we have a balanced root chakra and we're well connected to the earth, we are in a place where we feel secure, we have a sense of safety, Okay, we're feeling balanced and we're feeling stable. Anytime you're feeling scattered or your mind is off in 18 or 19 different directions and you're having trouble keeping your focus and that sort of thing, these are the times where you think maybe it's time to go get grounded again. Welcome to get your feet on the ground, sit on concrete and get grounded again. So safety, security, and survival are a lot of the issues in the energetics in the root chakra. Now, we had talked last week, and I want to refresh this because this is important to know that the first three chakras, 1, 2, and 3, are body-based. They are the physical-based chakras. The fourth chakra, the heart chakra, is the gateway or the intermediary between the lower chakras, which are physical body chakras, and the higher three chakras, which are the spiritual chakras of the body.
I see.
Right? So when we're talking about the heart chakra, this is the valve. This is the valve that opens and closes for the other energies. So, but I want to make sure that, so we're talking about more in the physical reality, what we're dealing with more in our physical reality at this point in the root chakra. Now, I went ahead and consolidated, and Janet works more with this. She doesn't necessarily speak on it, but this is something you can definitely quiz her more on, because I'm not the herbalist, I'm not the oil person. I use mine, the ones that work for me, but I'm not a guru of the oils. So, but the oils, they say, the very best oils that you want to use for this part of the body are going to be cedar, sandalwood, and actually cinnamon.
What, cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
Wow.
Which was a surprise to me, because I really like cinnamon.
I don't like cinnamon.
No? Well, you may not need it. You don't need it. If your body doesn't crave it. This is another thing we'll talk about, too, is a lot of times...
And I'm like, my root chakra is really...
You're grounded. You're grounded, girl.
You think?
I think you're pretty darn
why I
grounded.
need the
Yeah.
cinnamon.
Would you agree with that, your assessment that she stays pretty grounded?
No, yeah.
No? You pick on her, are you? Okay. So, all right, and now here's another thing to think about, too. And I didn't bring any in because I don't think I have any. Sandalwood is another thing to burn for protection. You're talking about baseline protection and cleansing and that sort of thing. Sandalwood is really, really good. It comes in, you can get it in incense. I think you can even get it in little sticks of sandalwood to do that.
For root
Right.
chakra.
Yeah, this is all root chakra. We're all still talking about the first chakra. This is about our basic survival, our basic connection, our basic security. When somebody is homeless, this is about a roof over your head, food in your stomach. Our base needs. Okay, so when we are blocked in that, and I've just talked about that a little bit, we're going to be in fear. We're going to be in a fear place when we are blocked through the root chakra. We're not going to have a sense of security. Often, we're not going to feel safe in our reality. All right, and I definitely remember I went through all this. I went through a whole period of time. I really didn't feel safe until I found that I needed to find a way to make that safety within myself. You see, it's not a construct that somebody can give me. Kyson can look at me and say, "You're safe," and I can go, "No, I'm not. I don't feel safe." That's something I've got to make internally, and it took me a long time to figure that out in the process, but it's an internal process. So now if you're talking about gemstones and rocks, which I've brought the rocks before, you're looking for the red stones. Basically. Red stones. Red chakra, red stones. You're going to find this is true in food a lot of times too. With the energy of the... Yes, and my mother used to be, I used to call her a stable Mabel. She was so grounded in her root chakra. Everything in her house was red. She loved it. She rooted with her reds, and that gave her a sense of security, and it was a beautiful thing. All right, so now we're going to talk about food. Okay. And I don't know how watercress got in here.
This is red?
I looked it up. Yes, red foods, strawberries, yeah.
Red.
Beets, watercress is in here, strawberry, meat, cayenne pepper.
Cayenne?
Yeah, because this is
And it's, yes, and it's also something I'd like to mention about cayenne. I've used it off and on in my life. It's a beautiful blood cleanser. I wouldn't take large doses of it for a long period of time, but sometimes when I really feel like I need a blood cleansing, I'll take large doses of cayenne for 3 or 4 days. and it actually works really well as a blood cleanser.
So regular hot pepper, spicy pepper?
I think pretty much really anything red food. They've got watercress in here too, though. I'm not sure how that got in there, but it may have a property or something.
Isn't it a?
Is
I think
it?
a water chestnut. Isn't watercress the?
I thought it was a lettuce or something.
I thought it was like an onion.
Might be. I'm not sure either. That one I'll have to do some research on. Okay, and then we're going to get into the herbal realm, and this is something that you can expand with Janet. Clover, rogan seal, ginseng. These are all good for root chakra. There's a ton of ginseng in the chai tea.
Oh.
I add fresh ginseng when I make the simple syrup, so there's a ton of ginseng in the
Cheers.
chai. Yes, please enjoy it. I love making chai. All right, so now
Cheers.
we talked a little bit about this. If there are not any questions or anything, we'll move on. If you really want to go in depth on the oils and that sort of thing, Janet would be the lady to talk to on that.
Intimacy.
Yes.
Well, intimacy, yes and no.
You can talk to me
Because
about it.
because
I'm
you're
the
talking
pro.
more kind of the lower processes here. You know what I mean?
Talk
So
about
when you get up into heart, we're getting into where that ties to intimacy. Yes. Now look at it this way: if you have a foundation that is not strong, you cannot build on that foundation. So if you have somebody that lives in lack and need and struggles every moment, then they're not going to be able to reach intimacy ever in that state. You see what I'm saying? They may move through a process and they may open up, but the person is a little bit different. So a lot of times, and what we really need to talk about here, and I'm not sure, is stability, balance, sense of security, knowing that your basic needs are met. Right? And to me, intimacy is not a basic need. Food, water, shelter, from the root chakras. You see what I'm saying? You're getting up into kind of the higher channels when you start to get the nuances on it. You can get connection better in probably a very sexual way, and it may be primal mentally, but it may not be true intimacy. Does that make sense what I'm saying? All right. So it's the center of sexuality and creativity, right? It involves the sexual organs. Now, I found this very interesting when I was researching this. Your communication skills a lot of times are tied to this because as you're coming into awareness as a child, these are the chakras you're using. So this ends up being a childhood communication skills. The skills you learn how to communicate with all come from the second chakra in the really early years. Feelings of, when you're in the right place with the sacral, if you're having feelings of abundance, expression, passion, okay, creativity. This is where all my art comes from. All my art comes from here, from this area, and is pulled up in the body for the expression. When you're blocked, you're lacking your creativity. You are emotionally usually unstable. So when you're finding yourself going up and down a lot emotionally in a short period of time, which a lot of the empaths are doing, I'm going to kind of break away from that a little bit. A lot of the empaths are breaking away from our target. A lot of empaths are doing that at this point in time. They're feeling a lot of blocks in their creativity and emotional instability, where they'll be happy one moment and then the very next moment they're like, what happened? Something's happened. This is balancing in the sacral chakra. This is balancing through that part of the feeling center of the body. Now we're going to get into Janet's moment. We're going to talk about now the blocks here. All right, sexual dysfunction, fear of change. That's one I've struggled with in my life a lot. Fear of change. I don't like change. That tells me right there's more balancing to do in my sacral chakra. Depression and addiction can also be manifestations of this chakra. And this chakra is out of balance. Okay? Yeah. This is sacral. We're still low on the abdomen, and the solar is up around the navel. The sacral to me is like right above the pelvic bones. If you reach in, you reach in like my hip bone.
Yeah.
On the inner point of my hip bone. That's kind of where I feel my sacral chakra when it's activated. It's in that region of the body. Okay. So we talked about addiction, depression, fear of change, sexual dysfunction. If you have any of these going on, you probably have some imbalances in the sacral chakra. And now when we're talking about that, and we're talking about imbalances and dysfunction in that, the sacral chakra, all of these chakras don't get blocked in a day, all right? And they don't get blocked by one modality normally, is what I'm finding. Is if you've got a blocked chakra, it's because sometimes it can be diet related, what you're doing with your body, you know, how your fitness level will affect how your chakras interact with the cosmos and with the physical body. Very important to know that. So if you just look at one of these topics and look at it broadly, you know, there's going to be usually several mechanisms that are going to be in play. We have very strong, beautifully healthy, our bodies want to be healthy. So we've really got to pack stuff on over a period of time on an energetic level to really have it descend into the physical body. So when we talk about the chakras, we're talking, this is our interconnectedness to the earth and our interconnectedness to the cosmos, okay? So if they're not balanced and functioning right, your connection to your existence here and your higher spirit existence will be blocked in one way or another. Don't be overwhelmed by this. We live in a crazy world. We have a lot of blocks, and a lot of it has been facilitated with cultural and societal ideas and norms about what we should be, and many of us are round pegs trying to fit ourselves into square holes. So there are going to be a lot of blocks. There are going to be a lot of things that we deal with on that level. So please do not get discouraged, because I can go through this list and I can say, yeah, I have that, 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 I have that to a certain degree, I have that more to a deeper degree. So it's an ongoing process of just being aware of how your body is speaking to you, both physically, when it tells you you're hungry, and spiritually when your body is talking to you about how you are perceiving the emotional energies that you're running in your body at this time. So we're still here, we're still dealing basically with fertility, creativity, we're still at the baseline with physical chakras. So we're talking about sexuality, we're talking about creativity, things along those lines, mostly here. Now, once those energies are moved up and down the column and merge with the higher functions and go through the template of the heart, then we get into the more nuances. And I have discovered this myself in my life as I have grown in my understanding and healing of my body, how I present what I thought intimacy was, what I thought love was, what I thought my reality was, really, really starts to slip away, and a different picture comes in, a picture of the interconnectedness of ourselves to our upper and lower environment and ourselves to each other. Very big deal. Okay, so oils, lemongrass, orange, juniper.
Orange, juniper.
Yeah, and I think there are 3 or 4 more, but I just wrote down kind of some of the key ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then when we're talking about stones, carnelian, there are a lot of orange stones. There is, I was trying to think, there's an orange garnet, if you wanted to start getting into more, but the choices are for what they had on the list was kind of limited. Carnelian, copper, and I added imperial topaz. Because I found imperial topaz, which is more of a peachy color topaz, had a great effect for me in that region of my body. All right, so now, foods, oranges, apricots, peaches, mangoes. I would think carrots would be in there too, but it wasn't on the list.
No.
I would think it would be, but
Yeah.
maybe but I've never liked it, so I didn't
I
know it.
think squash.
Yes, squash is on the list, you're right. I think I didn't write that down, because I tried to go with like 3 of them. I didn't want to totally overwhelm him. All right, so then the herbs, St. John's wort, licorice, and grapeseed are what I'm finding most prevalent for this part of the body.
For balancing.
Yeah, just for balancing and settling and healing too. Healing too.
Oh,
These stones can be healing. These herbs can be healing. Foods can be healing.
Yes.
I'm always working with my will chakra and my action center, so I almost always bring pineapple or something yellow, because I like to associate that with my will chakra and working on being more active
Yes.
in my presentation. All right, so we've covered now the sacral, which has to do with sexuality, it has to do with the genitalia, it has to do with our creative force, the creative force in the body. Again, we're still talking about the lower 3 chakras. This is the second of the lower 3 chakras. Now we'll get into the will. Now this one really fascinates me. The center is yellow, and it's one I've done a lot of work with. And I just found this out doing some more research so I can expand this talk, that it is the center for astral travel. I didn't know that. The center for astral travel. In other words, if you have out of bodies, or some people journey, you know, it usually starts with lucid dreaming, all right? And then we go from the lucid dreaming state to an awareness, and then we can feel ourselves leave our bodies and astral travel. Not everybody does this. It's, again, a gift, and we'll get into that when we get into the sixth chakra and some of the gifts that people get with their abilities through the third eye. But this is tied into that now. So you're going to be using the higher chakras for astral travel, but this seems to be the actual center channel for that activity. And that is new to me. I have never associated it that way. This has to do with will, action. All right, this is the one that I worry about with connections, because we get the wrong kind of connections through the will chakra. Just like sometimes we can get the wrong kind of connections through the sacral chakra. You know, somebody is in lust, or somebody is counting on us for their survival. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or somebody sees the world differently than we do, but it's not okay for us to see the world differently than they do. So then they're trying to impose their ideas into our reality. Or if you're arguing or bickering with somebody a lot of times you can sit there, and if you really think about it, you can watch this cord between your wills going back and forth as you're fighting each other for power in the situation.
The solar plexus.
The solar plexus, the will chakra. Yeah. So this deals with the digestive tract, the stomach, the liver, and the adrenal glands. All right, and I'm going to go off topic a little bit here. Because these are the primary nodes. But I also want to talk about some of the ways that these manifest in our reality. Okay, stomach, liver, and adrenals. And we'll get into thyroid too when we get into it. But a lot of the empathic people, the people that are really coming into their energetic sense, their adrenals are overstimulated. If you're going through life and you feel like you're always in a hurry and nothing is quite exactly the way it needs to be and all of that, you're really overtaxing the adrenal system, and you're really in a battle with yourself in your will chakra. And this is a battle I know so well. I have this battle all the time between how much can I do? How much of what I get on a spiritual level can I put into action? Right? And it has nothing to do with my inability to do it, other than me being in my own way. So we also have our internal will battles with ourselves. But these are going to affect the systems in the body. These are going to affect digestion, the adrenal glands, how your liver functions, all right? Because it's all tied together, all tied together. So let's go now back into some of the fun stuff about this. So when you're in this, you have your individual power. When your solar plexus is well balanced, you're feeling your individual power. You have a sense of self-esteem. Sorry, I lost the mic there again. Commitment and willpower. The ability to commit to something in willpower. All right, these are all things that come through that chakra. And when I was talking about my own will battle, my ability to commit to the fact that I should probably speak more. Because I enjoy it, and it's easier than typing, to be honest. So these, if you're in a kind of a balanced place, this is how you're going to kind of be in your expression through the will chakra. When you're blocked, you're going to have low self-esteem, difficulty making decisions. Think about it. If you don't know your own will, then how do you make a decision, especially if it's an important decision?
Yes.
So, and all of these will tie back to self-awareness and self-discovery too. Each of these can give us vast information on that. And we can even talk about, if we have time at the end, meditations to go into your chakras and talk to them. Go into your body and say, what's going on? And a lot of times it will be nonverbal, but if you give it some time, you'll figure out how to listen to your body. It works beautifully. All right, so when you are blocked, you're going to have difficulty making decisions and a lot of anger issues. People who are quick to flare, you know, quick to go into that mama bear or papa bear mode. Anger, carry a lot of anger or hostility onto the surface. This is an imbalance in their will chakra. This is a internal battle between what they know and what they do.
Yeah.
a lot of times. And the bigger that gap is,
Eddie, you watching?
the worse you're going to be feeling the push and pull in the well chakra. Now the block, let's see. So back to Jared's stuff. The oil. The best oils for the solar plexus are lemon, rosemary, and geranium.
I will move to next one.
No, we're still right here. We're just finishing up on this right now. But we're into the oils.
Lemon. The oil.
You say rosemary?
Lemon, rosemary, and geranium. And I'll tell you what, another beautiful thing about rosemary, and I keep it in my house all the time, and I'll rub a little bit on my lower lip. It's good for memory. And when you get to be around 60, that's not bad.
Oh, I'm going to need that. what
Can I have some
kind of?
now?
Say again?
Can I have some now?
Oh, you know what? I almost brought some of my oil.
What's that oil that you?
Rosemary. It's good for memory. And actually, I have a friend that grows it in her garden.
Yeah.
And I'll take big wads of it and twine them, and I hang them in my shower. So the steam from my shower will give me the scent of rosemary in the shower. And I'm like, help my memory, help my memory.
Wow, that's to know.
Yeah, so little
Nice to
tricks
know,
too.
Tyson.
And you know what? You can get really creative with so much of this. How you use these herbs and these oils. All right, so now we're going to talk about the stones. Stones,
Yes.
of course, we're looking
Stone.
for yellow stones. We're looking for citrine, amber, gold, and topaz.
Topaz.
Topaz. I like topaz. That's my
So do
favorite one.
I.
It's a beautiful thing. And now let's go ahead and go to food. Back to yellow. Lemon, corn, melons, bananas, eggs.
Banana, right here.
Yeah, banana, egg, and grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit. And now herbs. Am I giving you enough time there? Or am I going too fast? Sure.
You getting it? So whenever you like feeling like have anger issue or something?
Well, yeah.
You're off balance?
Now, what I found most of the time with oils and herbs, and oils will work for me right away. Like if I've got a pain in the neck or something, I'll put peppermint oil on it. And usually that will take care of it.
Wow.
But anyway, give me the question one more time.
When you said that's for like for anger.
Oh yes, okay, what I was going to say about this is this is an ongoing process. So yeah, there are things out there like Bach's Rescue Remedy, which is a combination of flower essences that you can take on the spot in the moment for anxiety in the moment. But most of these things I have found, you can use them episodically, I guess is the right word, but better to do maintenance. Better to do a little maintenance than, it's not going to hurt you if you're in a mode and you decide you're going to eat some yellow food. That's not going to hurt you. And it may stave off an acute moment, but ultimately the underlying cause is still there. The cause that brought up the anger is still going to be there. So I would say, yes, you can use it episodically, but I would say more than that, incorporate it in your life. In the foods that you decide to put in your body. And we're talking about foods, and that's another thing that hopefully I'll find my way back to at the end of this, because I don't want to break this up too much. But talking about the quality of the food that we eat is very important. The saying, you are what you eat, is a big deal. And the vibration in your food is a big deal. And food that's processed is not live, and it doesn't carry the same vibration as a strawberry, or a piece of fruit, or an organic, of course, is going to be a little different than some of the stuff that you can get over the counter in most markets, because pesticides are used and ingredients seep into the food that you may not want. So I'd say yes, you can use all of these things like in that moment when you need to use it, but also think about it as a long-term maintenance thing. If you feel like you're having will or root chakra issues or whatever, eat more beets for the root. You get grounded.
Yes.
Or I happen to like pineapple, and it's really, really good this time of year for yellow, for working with the solar plexus. All right, so we talked about that. So the herbs are thistle, lemon balm, nettle, and dandelion. And isn't it interesting now that they all kind of have harsh names? They all kind of have, like they're prickly.
And they're all kind of, yeah, a
They're all
little
kind of
prickly. They're all
prickly,
beets.
right? Yeah.
I think so. Can you repeat what you just said?
Oh yes, okay. We wanted the three, right?
Yes, basil, lemon.
Okay, so we have thistle, lemon balm, nettle, and dandelion. And these are the oils. Got them? Good. Okay, so now we're going to go to the heart. Heart is the intermediary. I call it the gate. It's not considered the higher chakra or a lower chakra. It is the gateway between the two of them. It's normally and has been historically represented as green, but now they're also representing it as pink. Yeah, green and pink, and I have no problem with that. Because there's pink energy, I think pink energy is just maybe a higher expression of the green in some ways. When there's a alignment going on there, you'll get more of the pink in that. All right, the gateway, let's see, okay, we did the gateway part. This has to do with the hearts, lungs, and the breasts. All right, this covers this part of the body. And it's about awareness, service, and forgiveness. When the heart is open, service, awareness, and forgiveness. And this is a big one. And this is one way that you can really see if you were letting go of things. And you can really see where your heart chakra is. If you've been wronged or betrayed or whatever, how does that feel in your body? Are you holding it? Can you forgive? And the bottom line is really, and I found this to be very true, when it comes to forgiving, I have to forgive myself first. Really. Because when I'm angry at somebody, I'm really not angry at somebody. I'm angry at myself for allowing something to happen in my reality. Yet I will project that on the source of that hit the trigger in that moment. And forgetting that, wait a minute, no, I couldn't be angry if there wasn't something out of balance within me to begin with. You know what I mean? I couldn't be upset about this if there wasn't something out of balance with me. And then when we talk about that, we're talking again about the expectations versus boundaries. The out of balance part of that is an expectation of someone else to meet your reality. People aren't here to meet our reality. People are here to meet their reality at the highest level that they can. And we come together as we raise our meaning of reality with people who are like-minded. You see how that works? It's really a beautiful thing if you think about it, because you are literally an attractive being. You are literally drawing to you what you're putting out in every moment, right? And this is what I love about the heart chakra. To me, this was the opener to all of this understanding, and forgiveness is very, very important, because we're not just forgiving the other person or people in a dynamic, we're forgiving ourselves for being involved in the dynamic. Because that little voice is coming back with a self-judgment saying, how'd you let yourself get into this again? You did it again? You know? And now I can laugh and I have a little bit of humor about it, but before I get really upset with myself, damn it, here I am again, I did it again. And I'm like mad at them, but I'm really mad at me. So, I don't want to go too deep into that right now, but we do need to talk about awareness, service, and forgiveness. And when this center of the body opens up, it's no longer about you as an individual. It's about your presentation in reality. And you're doing it for yourself, yes, but you're really doing it for all your reflections also. And you begin to see that connection is part of your reflection too. It's not just me and this body having a similar or different experience that I'm defining by my ego in the way that I've decided to define it. All right, so when we talk about this, the lungs, the breaths, awareness, service, forgiveness, blocks are grief, of course, anger, jealousy. Now, I like this too for the heart chakra. If we live in a reality that says, what is ours will come to us, and God answers us in one of three ways, I believe this. Yes, when I ask God for something, yes is my answer. You're going to get it. Or I might get, yes, but not now. That means I have work to do. I've asked for something that exceeds my capabilities in this moment. It's not a failure. It doesn't make you wrong. You don't need to be angry. God is just saying, I know what you want. It's a beautiful goal. There's a little work to be done before you can get there from here. So you may be presented, though since you're a magnetic being, you may still be presented with options that don't quite fit that model. Have you noticed that? You'll get like part of what you thought you asked for, but the other part is like really difficult to deal with. And you're like, oh boy, this is really not what I asked for. It is what you asked for, because you asked for this goal, but you're not quite there. So you're going to get whatever's in the middle or whatever is going to help you make that next step to that goal. You see what I'm saying? So when I live in a world where I know that this is how reality works, how can I be jealous? Because what's mine will come to me. What's not mine isn't mine. Isn't for my reality. If I meet somebody and I go, boy, that just isn't a connect. It's not personal. It's not them or me. We're living in two different realities, and we can't meet each other's reality. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Kind of an oversimplification. But so jealousy is a good indicator in yourself of what you're attached to. Because what you're attached to, you don't want to let go of. When you allow, instead of reaching, what comes to you is what's best for you. And when we have that mentality, then jealousy doesn't really enter the picture anymore, in a lot of ways, because you're not attached to what you're being presented with. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, so betrayal, fear of betrayal is a biggie for us, of course, and self and others' hatred. Self-hatred. That's a biggie. This is in the heart, self-hatred. And I don't think we even realize we do it until we go down and we talk to that part of the body. You know, and say, hey, what's going on here? But yeah, definitely just sit in a moment and focus on the centers of your body, and you can be amazed at what you get back. Absolutely amazed at what you get back. Helplessness is also a block to the heart chakra. Helplessness. So a lot of course, these lower chakras are involved a lot in the victimhood part of our mentality, right? So when you think of helplessness is a victim mentality in a lot of ways, all right? So when these chakras are blocked, what's happening is you're expressing in the lower chakras, not the higher, because the flow isn't there. You see what I'm saying? Break down 3, the gateway, and the higher 3. So, looking at the heart chakra, we've talked about what blocks it. When the heart chakra is open, we are we're very forgiving, but more than that, it has a lot to do with awareness, okay? Because once we open the heart chakra, then we're opening ourselves to the spiritual centers of the body. You see what I'm saying? So this also brings a lot of awareness. When the heart chakra is open, awareness. And awareness is what brings us to a place where we can look at situations and go, that's easily forgiven. That's easily forgiven. You know, it takes that awareness of what's actually happening in your dynamics and the wounds that you're dealing with that are being reflected to you for that. All right, so now oils, lemon.
Oil what? Which one?
Or lemon.
Lemon
Oil, which I thought was kind of interesting. I like it though. Rosemary. Fennel, F-E-N-N-E-L, and pine, believe it or not. Pine. Yeah. I use cedar and sage bath salts when I do my organ, just to get back to that. I also use rosemary, yeah, so you can get sage salts for your baths, for cleansing your aura. If you want, I use a little bit of those. I usually use a lot of other natural salts. Okay, so if we're talking about stones, we're talking about emeralds, aventurine, jade.
What was that second one?
Aventurine, have you heard of it? It's easy, you can look it up online. They're coming out with all these amazing stones now.
Aventurine?
Aventurine.
So that's the
You never heard of aventurine?
That's a new one for me.
Oh, you'll find it there on your phone. Jade, malachite, which is one of my favorites for the heart. And malachite is also extremely healing. Oh, my legs a little bit here. Without getting in the floor. Extremely healing. Malachite, I used to wear malachite. Yeah, I used to wear malachite on my body a lot when I was deep in the healing processes. It's a beautiful stone. And they say that the stone that is that has round circles on it, if it's cut or polished in a way that it has round circles on it, that they have even more healing energy in them. And peridot, which is another one of my favorites. And I believe that's also called Ovaltine or Olivetine or something. Peridot. All right, so we're through the stones, and now we're going to talk about the foods. And the foods would be, of course, salads, avocado, broccoli,
Oh, that's a
cucumber, and then,
we love avocado.
and then the herbs, which Janet can help you with, would be pine, sage, wild yam, and rose hips. Pine, sage, wild yam, and rose hips.
Your pets, your dogs and your cats will go eat your rose hips when they're sick.
Oh.
Well, they
I've
will.
noticed that, yeah. They also sometimes eat grass, but that's one thing that, like, the dog will, like, run out of the house and go to the garden and go through everything else and eat the rose hips.
Yeah.
I
I always thought that was a kind of a cool concept. I didn't know what a rose hip was for a long time. Oh, this is really kind of cool. Yeah, that's good. Well, this, these are good for animals too, but be careful which things you feed your animals. Some of these can be helpful. I know people who have worked with wells with animals and they had really, really good outcomes with it. Okay, herbs. Let's see, we did that. So now we're going to talk about the throat chakra. So now we've talked about the channel between the two, right? And we've talked about the heart and the opening of the heart and the opening of awareness. And when we open the heart, we also open our awareness and we start to connect our physical to our spiritual.
Yeah.
And when we do that, then the heart brings us to a place of service, a place of forgiveness, and a place of aware understanding of what we're really dealing with, so that we can approach things from heart and get out of our survival baseline functions, the three chakras that more support the ego and the ego activities in this reality. Not that we don't have to be active, but being balanced and active is much better. Okay, throat chakra, first of the spiritual centers. This is the first one. This is the gateway to the higher energies manifesting in the body. Thyroid, jaw, mouth, neck, and tongue. So we cover that part of the area, that area of the body, I'm sorry. And
That's my overactive.
not so long, you're not bad. Okay, speaking inner truth, communication. This is the biggie, and this is I talked about this before. This is the awakening that we're coming into, and the awareness that we're coming into. The ability to be aware of our inner truth, and then to be able to actually speak it. Because we live in a world, and it's getting worse, where now we're afraid to say things about certain things in our reality. We're afraid to bring or open a door because people are so polarized in their approaches to things that we're almost afraid to raise our voice for fear of what's going to come back at us. But this is the biggie right now, being able to speak your truth, being able to get into the heart and pull in the higher energies and speak from a more aware, conscious, and compassionate place. All right, this throat chakra is a biggie. This is the one I've worked on most of my life. I told you guys before, I was raised, children are seen, not heard. And so there's been a lot of work for me to actually be able to open my throat chakra and to communicate my inner emotions. I was an air traffic controller. I could say the words I needed to say and move traffic, that was fine, but my inner processes and my ability to communicate on this level with people was something that I had a great deal of fear around. So, now it also involves listening to others. It works both ways. The chakra works both ways. The throat chakra, when it's too open, we don't listen. When the throat chakra is too open, we're not listening. When the throat chakra is too closed, we can't hear. There's a difference. You see what I'm saying? Okay. When the throat chakra is too far open, we don't listen.
Ah, that's me.
We don't listen.
What did you say?
We don't listen. When the throat chakra is too far closed, we can't hear. There's a difference.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? When the throat chakra is too far open, we're not listening. When it's too far closed, often we can't hear what's being said. They're different processes. They're slightly different in how they manifest in the reality. Okay.
I like that.
So, blocks, throat and neck pain, difficulty paying attention.
Oh, that's mean?
And that's just listening. It's paying attention. But you notice how our language
I'm
is?
like ADD.
We have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
We pay at the grocery store, and we pay for services, and when we speak our language, we pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting how we word that, isn't it? All right, so, fear of judgment is a biggie. Fear of judgment. That's why most people close their throat chakra, because they're afraid to say what they feel in that moment. And I think the throat has a lot to do with intimacy, too. That had come up earlier. I think the throat chakra, because I believe once we begin to get in touch with it, and we open the gateway of the heart, and we start to get in touch with our reality and who we are, then we can begin to voice it. And then when we begin to truly voice who we are and not pretending or wearing a mask or trying to present to society to look a certain way, that's when we begin to develop true intimacy with ourselves. A deep, abiding intimacy with saying, I know you very well. It's not always pretty. It's not always going to be beautiful, but I know you and I love you. And then we get to the point where our little flaws are funny. We don't even get upset anymore. We kind of laugh at ourselves and go, oh yeah, that's the child in me. Acting up in this moment. Showing me they're still there, want to be heard. So paying attention is difficult. Throat and neck pain, fear of judgment. The oils are thyme, mint, and tea tree. And these are oils I keep around the house a lot. And the stones, of course, are sapphire, lapis. This might be another new one for you, Kai. Sodalite.
Never heard of it.
Look it up, it's beautiful.
I
It's
looked at
blue,
the
it's
picture.
blue and white, and it looks kind of agate. And then blue agate. The foods, of course, remember I told you this, blue foods are my favorite foods. There aren't enough blue foods in reality for me. And they are blueberry, plum. They're saying fish.
Blueberry plum. Fish.
Maybe Janet can help more with that and explain to me why fish would be on that list, because I'm not sure.
It's not specifically what kind of fish?
It doesn't say, just fish. I thought maybe if it's a particular type and it had like a blue hue to it or something.
Oh, I like salmon.
Which
Yeah.
is this?
This is
The throat.
Throat, yeah. So I'd like any input anybody might have out there on that too.
That's why I like
Asparagus.
sushi.
Asparagus and potatoes.
Oh.
Okay, and these are a lot of foods I live on. Truly live on. Eggplant I would throw in there, but I think
Oh.
they consider eggplant
No,
purple.
it's purple.
No. Yeah, don't throw that one in there because I think that goes with a higher chakra.
So you said asparagus and what else?
Let's see, asparagus, blueberry,
Potatoes.
plum,
Okay.
fish, and potatoes.
I will put... Oh, that's a green one. Throat what color? Blue. Blue.
Blue. And there was a point in my life where I'd sit in the bathtub and eat the Pop-Tarts with the blue icing. Because I like blue food, there's just not enough blue food. But don't do that, it's not good for you. Now, oils, oh, let's see, where was it? I don't need to measure myself now. No, that's right, they're there. Herbs. Now we're talking evening primrose. I don't know much about that one. Witch hazel
Witch hazel, yeah.
and eucalyptus. Are really good oils. Okay.
I'm glad you're writing this down.
And on we go. And actually, I should probably just make you a copy of this because I have like the little cheat sheet here.
Would you?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome, you're awesome.
Yeah, if you would, please text me and remind me, and I'll take it home, and then I'll break
Yes,
it down and make
please.
a couple of copies of it.
Yes.
But you'll have to help me
Thank you.
remember. All right, so now we're up to the sixth chakra. This is the third eye. This is like one of
Third
my
eye.
favorites. And I didn't actually break down all the
Is that your
colors.
instinct, right?
The third eye is, okay, first of all, it is indigo in color.
Indigo.
It deals with the pituitary gland,
Mm.
eyes, head, lower part of the brain. And I don't know why they don't have the pineal in here. I would have that there. Okay. And the lower part of the brain. The lower part of the brain. This is all third eye. Okay, and the third eye is about perception, all right? Clear perception and perceiving. And this is a big deal, intuition and clear perception. And we'll talk a little bit more about that because we have like two centers of intuition, I think, in the body too. We have a gut intuition. We have an intuition that comes with the will chakra that you can feel it in your body in moments. And a lot of times if you don't have a higher connection with the third eye, you don't know what's happening. You don't know quite why you're reacting. You cannot read that intuition or put that intuition into any usable form for your 3D reality. Yeah. So this is the third eye. We talked about decalcifying it last time. We talked about the pineal gland. We talked about fluoride, eliminating fluoride from the diet. If you can, stay away from foods that are grown with pesticides, because a lot of times heavy metals and other things can block the pituitary gland. Oh. And you don't want, the pineal gland. You don't want that.
You mentioned also last week about the toothpaste.
The what?
Toothpaste that
fluoride.
Yes,
Most toothpaste has fluoride in it because I can't remember. It's probably back in the, I don't know what decade it was, so I'll be careful. Many years ago, the American Dental Association decided that fluoride would stop cavities. And then they started adding fluoride to municipal water. We don't have it here in Corpus Christi, but if you're somewhere else, you should probably check and see if it's actually in your drinking water. It calcifies the pineal gland. And I believe oregano oil, there are probably some oils, I didn't write this down, but there are several different oils that will help also to decalcify the pineal. But the big thing is to get fluoride out of your life. And the most predominant ways of getting fluoride into your system are your toothpaste and your water. So if you can check those two and make sure that you're not adding fluoride to your diet on a daily basis, that'll do a lot to stimulate your intuition. And once that intuition connects with the gut and you start getting the body-mind connection in your intuition, it's going to make a big difference in how you see your reality. Because we're operating from our lower three chakras in some ways, we're operating from attachments or ideas that we think what our reality should be. And once we start to unclog the center of the brain and we start to reconnect with the body, we start to have those same energetic impulses, but we have a totally different perception of what's happening in the body, a clearer perception of it. The example of stepping back from the big screen TV. You're standing too close to the TV, all you see is the pixels, right? Once you get a moment where you start to clear out and remove some of the blocks in your energy channels and that sort of thing, then your perception becomes clear. You have to realize these are all connected. What you do to change the lower three is going to affect your higher three. It's just like you make a life change in your life, your partner can't help but be affected by that life change. He's part of your system and your energetic. He lives in your space, right? So here we have these centers, these beautiful vortexes in our bodies. They're all within our space. So when we get them interconnected and working together is when our higher processes come in. When we're working in the lower ones, we don't know forgiveness because we're too busy trying to survive and figure out what we're going to do next. That forgiveness is not the priority in our mind in that moment because we're in our survival mode. Once that gets cleared out, we have a sense of security. We move into our sacral. We start to move our creative juices and flows and block that. We go into our will. We'll deal with our own battles internally and remove cords and connections and attachments that aren't serious on the highest level. We start to activate the heart. The heart gets activated. It starts to draw from the higher channels. The throat comes in. Our voices begin to be heard. We start to find a voice. Many of us have never found a voice. And this may be more on the feminine end of the spectrum, you know, just because of the cultural things that we live with, that we haven't had the opportunity to exercise our voices, our inner truth in our voices, as much as we would like. There are also all kinds of cultural things that affect that. The inability for people to be able to speak their truth in this reality, based on where they live and the preconceived notions about whatever it may be, skin color, place of origin, religious orientation, political orientation. So many different ways to label people, not necessarily good things. So, once we start talking about intuition and clear perception, we're really at the point now when these things are kicking in, that we have done some balancing of the lower chakras. We have opened the heart to a certain extent. so that we can now begin to process these principles on a different level. And I never say higher. I never say a higher level because I'm not sure I really believe that. I think it's a different level of perception. Because I don't know what higher is yet. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's probably so much more that is well beyond my ability to even comprehend at this moment. So blocks, trouble understanding your intuition. How many times has that happened to you? I can go back in my life so many times and go, I'm getting a gut feeling, what's happening? I don't know. I don't know. When we start to clear these channels, we have more, that's fear, or I've got a red flag in this situation, or this is my own baggage coming in. Because I've been in a similar situation that felt somewhat the same, but it's not the same situation, but I'm reflecting on something that's already in my energetics, in my cellular memory. Right, so, let's see. Trouble understanding intuition, self-trust issues, which is the same thing for me. If you don't trust your body to talk to you, and you don't understand how to listen to your body talking to you, or listen to higher insights, or pull them down verbally, which takes, this is all a process. Like I said, this doesn't happen overnight. Some people rarely, but not often. Then really you're dealing with self-trust issues. Whether or not you trust yourself to make the right choices or wise choices. Think about that. That this is the truth of what intuition is really about. Because I've struggled with intuition my whole life. Been knowing things but not knowing them. You know what I mean? Knowing them but not being able to pull it down and bring clarity to the perception. And that's what we're in the process of doing. So never get upset with yourself if you misstep. Or, gosh, I got that one wrong. No, this is a learning thing. We're like I said, we are beings in little physical bodies. And we are becoming more aware of the beauty of what we are and the Christ consciousness and the light in us. And with that awareness, we're seeing how much more we're really capable of doing in this. So the third eye is, I like the third eye. Memory problems. Memory problems is another problem with the third eye. Memory problems, yeah. And I like this. The oils there are only two of them. Frankincense and myrrh.
Just two.
Frankincense and myrrh. And now, the stone they list here is quartz crystal, basically. And quartz crystal is white. But the thing about white quartz crystal, what's really, really important, is it can be programmed with any color. A white quartz crystal can be programmed to be any color. Did you know that? Yeah. Okay, white quartz is like, they call it like a liquid solid. It will resonate with anything that is placed close to it. If you put a quartz crystal close to your body or one of your energy centers in your body, the quartz crystal will resonate with that energy center. They use them in watches, they use them in radar scopes for air traffic control. They use quartz crystals in a lot of technology because of the resonant properties of the stone itself. So the beautiful thing about them, and I think the reason they listed quartz crystal here, because there's not really a blue expression of quartz crystal, I would say fluorite. Some fluorites would be good too. There's a blue fluorite if you can find it, indigo, darker blue. But the quartz crystal can be programmed to be indigo. You can cleanse a crystal, you can put it under running water, you can put it in the sun and charge it, and then with your intention you can say, I put the essence of purple in this crystal. Because it will hold your intention, the vibrational frequency of your intention. Just like it will hold the frequency in a radar scope or in a watch. It will hold that vibrational frequency for you. And what we can do at some other point too is, if you like to talk about it, we can talk about how I cleanse and care for my crystals. Because I have worn crystals until they broke, which is not the way to do it. You need to clean them. You know, you need to clean them before they get overloaded and just go, I'm done with you, pop. That's not the way to handle it. So we can talk about that. I'll make a list of things and we can talk about that when we talk about crystals again. But so quartz crystals and tanzanite Are you guys familiar with tanzanite?
You know that one. One I know.
One of my favorite stones on the planet. It's a blue stone with.
I want to see that look.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I have a ring. I'll wear it.
Okay.
It's a blue stone, but when you shine it around in the light, it has red, purple flashes in it. It's a gorgeous stone. It has a kind of a bichrome, or bicolor characteristics to it. It's really, really a beautiful stone. In fact, it's almost been mined out. It's only found in Tanzania. These are little,
That's it?
yeah, these are little
That's a
facts I have. Tanzanite is sold, one country sold gemstone. It's only found in Tanzania, or in Tanzania, and all of the really deep colors have been mined out. There's no more of it. So what's coming out of the mines now is almost lavender in color. So just so you know, that they only found it one place in the world. I think it's in like 2 mines there, and they have mined out all of the real gem quality stones.
Oh, wow.
All the really dark blues are gone now. They haven't found another vein of them or another source. So if you get your hands on a nice tansy, I call them tansies, tanzanite, hold on to it. It's a nice stone. It's got a real beautiful vibration to it. Very, very lovely stone.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, so the foods are eggplant, broccoli. Broccoli comes up a lot more than once here. Grapes and other blue food. And I'm like, there's not a lot of blue food.
The third eye, right?
Yes. Yeah. But other blue food actually for the third eye.
Okay.
Which is, that's not a bad thing. Because indigo is kind of a deeper shade of blue. But yeah, and like I said, I've always been attracted to blue food, but don't make it the Pop-Tarts with the blue icing. Because they're not good for you. Alright, so herbs are white willow bark. I don't know much about it. White willow bark.
Willow bark?
Mm-hmm.
Bark. Like off a tree.
Okay.
Yeah. Valerian. Skull cap. Imagine that. Skull cap.
Is that like a mushroom?
Skull cap. I'm not sure if it's a mushroom. I'm not sure what kind of plant it is, but I thought it's perfect that the pineal is centered in the center of the skull, and one of the herbs is skull cap. And kava.
The what?
Kava. K-A-V-A.
Okay.
Some people use it to sleep, and some people use it. It helps some with pain control, and it can be made into a tea.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's called kava. K-A-V-A.
Oh, kava. I never heard it.
Skull cap is a mint.
Is it a mint? Oh, well, mints are
Oh
nice,
wow.
too. No problem with that. I'm liking that I did this up large enough that I could actually can read it without my glasses. Okay, so we talked about the third eye. Now, let's go a little bit more into the third eye. And we're talking about intuition. We're talking about how people perceive their reality. And there are so many different ways to do it, and none of them are wrong. Okay? However you get your intuitive input is the channel that you have made and probably agreed with the source of all creation to bring in with you as a tool to help you in this reality and to help the rest of humanity. We talked about clairvoyance a little bit, the ability to have visions, all right? Not my forte, but many people have amazing vivid visions that they can recall in amazing detail. We have clairaudient, which are those that hear. They actually can hear their source or their higher self speak to them in language. Which is a beautiful way to receive also. I get that a little bit every once in a while. Then there's clairsentient, which is feeling, and it's a very nonverbal, until I learned a language to pull it down. And that's what will happen, is if you're a nonverbal sensor, you will learn a language. Because when you start to talk to yourself about what you're feeling in your body, there'll be things that go, yeah, you just hit it, you got it right. That just resonated with what I'm feeling in my body. And you'll develop your own language to express the nonverbal aspects that we get. I kind of find that sometimes it's the harder one to explain, because people can picture a television or a radio, but when you say, no, I'm feeling this in my body, and then I'm converting it to words, they're kind of like, how does that work? I'm not sure I can tell you at this point how that works, other than just listening to my body for a long time, and listening to what my psyche was telling me, the good and the bad and the ugly, through all of it. Let's see, so We are now going to go to the mouth. Oh, no. Let's see. We did 2. Let me do this. I did 3. Now, there's claircognizant also. I'm trying to see if I can remember them all, because there are probably more than the 4 I'm thinking of. And that is when you just get a whole principle. And it just comes to you in a knowing. And you really have no idea where it came from. Edgar Cayce spoke of this. Edgar Cayce is the greatest American sleeping prophet. And he has amazing writings. And he spoke of this. He had trouble in school, and he never finished school. And I believe at one point in his life, in his early teens, or after 10 or 11, he would sleep on the book. He'd put the book under his pillow, and he'd wake up and know the book. That would be a pretty extreme case of claircognizance. Right? Yeah, pretty amazing how people get information. I can't remember the name of the poet, but there's a story of a poet who used to hear her poems coming. She'd be out in her fields working her crops, and she'd hear her poems coming. And she'd run to the house to write them down. And one day she was late, and she caught it by the tail end and wrote the whole thing down backwards. All right? So the reason I give you these examples is I don't want you to limit yourself in how you think you're going to perceive, because you have no idea. I mean, I am now perceiving in ways that I could never have fathomed, even just a couple of years ago. So keep your mind open. Trust that you do have a connection to spirit, and working with the chakras, working with food, working with oils, working with intention, working with cleansing the body and the aura, and just being aware and conscious is going to change how each and every one of these systems functions and how they interact with one another, and then how your energetic systems interact with everybody else, because nothing is free of this process. None of it. All right, let's see. So, make sure I get
Ground.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to the crown. There are a couple more, maybe I'll look them up and see. But I'm sure that they've come up now, I think, with like 7 or 8 more. But they've also come up with more than the 5 senses. You have a sense of sight, smell, taste, feeling, hearing, but you also have a sense of balance. You have a kinetic sense. You have a metabolic sense. We have a lot of different senses in the body. So I'll look it up and see. I'm pretty sure there are many more descriptions.
Maybe we could
of how
have
you
that
perceive.
for the next.
Yes, well, let's go down and we'll definitely talk about it.
Yes.
We're not even going to get into the 8th and 9th chakras, the 10th or 11th or 12th chakras, and I'm still trying to gather all the information on the lunar chakras to share with you.
Hold on for that one for a second. I'm thinking to deepen our more knowledge about every first chakra, like let's say first chakra, which chakra. Do you want to like talk about more the whole full hour, 2 hours with that? I don't want to hold, because I'm still going back.
I know, you're just like this.
I want to go deep.
Well, yeah, and you know what, we can always take it another level deeper too. The reason I kind of do it this way is I like to make a building blocks. I like to get, because if I go like totally deeply into this, you know what I mean, and then we started like talking about the Sanskrit names and stuff, which is a little over my head too, and how many petals they have and all of that. That's, we could see.
I would go more than 2 hours.
Yeah, well, that would, I have to do a lot of research on that, because a lot of that's even over my head.
And I do have a lot of asana poses with every chakras.
Oh, perfect.
For that, for the yoga poses. So
yes,
you don't have to talk about
that. That's a big deal. That's something I want to do, is the yoga, the yoga postures to help with the chakras and stuff like that. And then we'd also talked about there's a whole system out there now for anxiety. Movements for anxiety, yoga type movements for anxiety, that sort of thing. All right, so purple. I prefer violet because they're not the same color. Purple to me is not violet. Violet is more luminescent than purple.
Like one.
But they say purple, but I went ahead and put violet in here, but I didn't see that actually in the literature. The immunity, the immune system, enlightenment, connection. It says pituitary again. I'm thinking they may have met pineal. Right and left brain synchronization. Power of transcendence. Okay, so the 7th spiritual chakra, there are more, but these are the ones we're dealing with primarily. Oh, sorry, I got out of the picture. We're dealing with in our reality right now are mostly these. So we're talking about our immunity. So if you're struggling with illnesses, you're probably struggling with what's going on with your crown chakra, the top chakra. Brain synchronicity, now this is very important, and this is going to bring me back a little bit to the tapes I brought by Ted Winslow that incorporate all the frequencies and that sort of thing. There's been a lot of work done in that arena, and there are things online called the binaurals. Have you heard of them, the binaurals online?
Yes.
Yeah, you know binaurals. And some of them are good and some of them aren't. And I always use my own intuition to judge which ones I want to listen to. I listen to some and I get a minute and go, no, it's not harmonic for me. But the right and left brain synchronization is a big deal. Right? And the reason I say this is because part of my original journey was exploring altered states of consciousness. And part of the process there was a technique way back when called hemisync. And hemisync was used to balance the right and left brain so that you could reach altered states of consciousness. In other words, you could get into states of expanded awareness, or you could get into states of astral travel based on how these sounds were put in each of the ears to synchronize the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. Now, I can say this, basic science has told us that the woman uses more of the brain interconnectedly on a daily basis, and men are much better at going from left to right hemisphere and compartmentalizing if they need to. In other words, if they're in one mode, they've got to be in a fight mode. They're very good at turning off the rest of their brain and going into fight mode. Where women, we're going to be thinking about it, we're probably going to have some fear around what we're doing because we're not compartmentalizing as much. We're using both hemispheres of the brain more routinely and more in coordination with one another. So this is also what I have found is a big part of the steps towards finding awareness, is the ability to find ways and moments to actually work on this particular. That Ted Winslow puts out with the frequencies in them help to reach the theta and the delta states. And I think he even has one for gamma now, for the gamma states, which for me is a little too active for meditation. Gamma is a little too. Synchronizing the left and the right brain is going to make all the difference in the world in opening the channel to a body, I have found. That was one of my avenues to it. Is once I got into the point where I could actually sit down and use both sides of my brain simultaneously, not being in one mode or task-oriented or anything like that, more of a meditative state, that connection really opened up a channel in me and connected all the chakras in a way that gave me a much more awareness. So we're going to try to hopefully bring a CD player. Maybe we can listen to a little bit of this music while we're doing the next one. I can bring 3 or 4 CDs, or I can actually unplug my, I have little Bose that plays like 3 or 4 of them. And I'm even running sometimes. Just
you bring it next Friday?
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so blocks in this chakra, all right, are feelings of isolation. Feelings of isolation or being alone. That's interesting.
Oh, wow.
Emotional distress and disconnection.
That's my ex-husband.
Yes, emotional distress and no, it could be, and disconnection. So when this particular chakra is blocked in big ways, then you're going to have feelings that you're alone, isolated, you're going to have emotional distress, and you're going to have a sense of disconnection. The all. And most of the time that is expressed in a 3D reality as a disconnection with your own environment. No longer, you're not feeling connected to the places you're going, the things that you're doing, those sorts of things. So now you know, hey, these are the crown chakra. These are things that I can work on. I can focus on bringing that energy into my body. And tapes like this, and I don't know, and binaurals can help with the syncing of the left and the right brain a great deal. And a lot of them are available free online. You can go into, I type in binaural for concentration, right? If I'm like working, writing or something like that, I'm on my computer, I'll go find a binaural on concentration and just run it in my background. If it's one I like, I'll just run it in my background, help me with that brain connectivity, help me with my concentration in this moment. I've used them for memory, I've used them to open the third eye. There are binaurals out there that'll do your whole chakra system for you in about 3 hours. Let's say start with your root, you can actually feel it as they're using the frequencies, you can actually feel it moving through the chakra systems. So yes, very, very good tool, I think, for crown, third eye, and for actual total chakra balancing. As in, you know, if you're sitting around, you have to be on your computer, or you're wandering around the house. Some of them will suggest that you wear earplugs, you know, or headsets.
Headphones are good for it.
Yeah, for a lot of them, they'll say, please, you know, you can't listen to this one without, but I can tell you this much, there are a lot of them out there that aren't like, absolutely that way, and I put it just in my background, in my environment, and I can feel them working. And that's right and left brain synchronization, learning to use those hemispheres at the same time, big in opening awareness and awakening and rolling, what I call rolling the crown chakra open. Because a lot of times for me, when the crown chakra rolls open, it literally feels like a donut. Just rolling, you know, like if you have a donut pillow with a hole in the middle, you can just roll down. That's kind of how it feels. It just kind of rolls down towards my third eye. I don't know how else to explain it. So oils, lavender, jasmine, and one of my favorites, magnolia.
Why is it that all of my favorites are the polar opposite of mine and chakra?
Really?
So I'm root chakra, but all my favorites are crown chakra.
Well, because you're balanced, because you have a masculine divine, which is very root connected, earth-wise, very manifestation oriented, yet you're also being drawn by the higher ones, so you're being drawn to the higher energies of the other representation. I call them totems or representations, because everything in physical reality can just simply be just like a ward. You know what I mean? It's a symbol of our intention.
You have that strong ground because you're wisdom.
Yeah, but you're very wise. Yeah, you're very wise. I mean, you're very balanced in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? You've also done your study. You've done your study, and you've looked into spirituality and how it fits into your life and that sort of thing. So you're going to be much more multifaceted. You're not going to be like my unstable Mabel mother, whose whole house was red. You know what I'm saying? Her whole house was red because that's the place that she lived, and that's where her comfort and her security was, but she never needed to open that up any higher or bigger. I think mostly we took care of that for her as the children. You know, we took care of the rest of that reality for her. But no, you're functioning on many, many levels, on many planes, and you've done your work. You've done a lot of your own work already. So I would make in fact, I would say that probably is a plus and a negative. Because I can't remember who said it, but somebody said something to the effect of, somebody that can hold two diametrically opposed ideas simultaneously and not lose their mind.
Yeah. Give yourself a credit.
But you see what I'm saying?
That's my reality.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, that is a very high form of intelligence.
Wow.
Being able to hold two concepts that totally conflict with one another. Like, and it's no different than holding the concept of understanding your own tendency to project expectations on someone else. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you have the awareness, because we know, because this is what the ego is. The ego is this part of our manifestation, and our ego tells us things like that at times. Yet you're balanced enough that you don't just act on that. You're going, no, wait a minute, there's another spiritual level. There's another layer or layers to this to look at and address instead of just respond like my mother would in red. You know? And I love her. Nothing wrong with my mother. She's an amazing woman. Please don't think I'm bad-mouthing her. She shaped who I am.
She's very red.
Yeah, she just liked red. It was her thing. All right, so your stones are going to be amethyst. And I went ahead and threw rainbow fluoride in here. They only had amethyst. That was the only stone they had. Through everything that I looked at, and I'm like, amethyst is nice, but amethyst is also purple quartz. You see, it is purple quartz. And I threw in rainbow fluoride, because if you look here at one of the healing tools I work with, it uses rainbow fluoride, and there's a great deal of purple in him. So, and green, and this is a lot of the higher colors, the purples, the greens, are all the higher chakras, representations of the spiritual energies in the color spectrum. Okay, let's see. So, ready for the food? Food. Eggplant, of course. Plums. Kale.
Plum wine.
And broccoli.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah, she is.
She's heavy. What?
Good grip on her. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, broccoli. And broccoli's been in here like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so broccoli is apparently multifaceted in the food realm of vibrational energies.
Isn't it both a tree, a flower? It's both a tree, a flower, a fruiting plant, and something that grows from the root. Like someone said that once. I couldn't remember what it was. But like the broccoli has like the florets, but the broccoli itself is both a tree, a bush, a fruit. It was something, and a flower. Like they said, it's rare in nature. Broccoli in its.
Oh well, there you go. That probably is it. It probably has a very rare energetic frequency, and energetic into the system. That makes sense. That makes good sense. Okay, the herbs are meadowsweet and valerian.
Are you saying valerian?
Valerian.
Ah, valerian.
Valerian. Okay, so that's really all I have at this point on that part of the chakras. But, and I think that, let's see, where are we? I went on to that one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're running on time again, aren't we?
Yeah.
Is it already after 2?
Yeah, I've been here for
Oh
over
my
an hour,
gosh.
and I was
I'm
late.
so sorry,
I apologize.
folks. I'm so sorry. But actually, a lot of really, really good information on the energy systems. Knowing that the lower chakras are going to be more about the earth-based goals and reality, that the heart is going to be the gateway, and as you open that, that's going to make a difference in how you funnel, your channel, your energies up and down. You get into the throat, which is, I think, the awakening happening on the planet at this point has to do with the throat chakra and the balancing of the feminine, the masculine, divine. So you speak, but not too much and not too little. Then we're talking about the third eye, and I'll look into that because there are many more modalities for perceiving. And there are a lot of tools for that too. Like I said, I've talked about cards before, like angel cards and stuff like that, as a tool to self-discovery. I'm not so much, I've done readings, but I'm not so much about doing readings for other people. More often I'm doing them for myself, for self-discovery. And I'm looking at myself in a manifestation in a particular way. Okay, and this is really run long, but I do want to talk about the knife and the cords real quick. And maybe we can go into this again another time. As we interact with everybody and anybody in our reality, we send out, I call it pinging. It's almost like a computer. If you're an IT guy, you get pinged all the time. Just like that one time where you think about somebody and the next thing you know, the phone rings 5 seconds later. You were just pinged. You were just pinged by somebody energetically, and you were conscious and aware enough to know that you felt their energy and you identified it as their energy. All right, that's a ping. That's somebody just kind of hitting you up. But when you are in relationships, or you're in close proximity to a large group of people, or you're in a living environment with 1 or 2 other individuals, you are close enough and in each other's energy systems enough that cords can form. And cords that form in the heart can be beautiful. You know, they're cords of love and forgiveness and deeper intimacy and all those things. And the heart is pretty much unblockable, not unblockable, but unlimited channel. Just like the flow is through the 7th chakra, the crown chakra. So I don't worry so much about cords through my heart, because most of those there are ones that I would have there any day, in any moment. It's when we get into the lower chakra systems, or we get into some of the higher spiritual chakra systems, that cords cannot necessarily be a good thing. Somebody's fighting with you for will, dominance, control, you're going to have cords through your will chakra. Somebody is attached to your sexuality and dysfunctional in their sexual orientation, they're going to try to put a cord into your sacral, into your sexuality. But they're also, remember, drawing on your creativity too. They're drawing on your energy center. Not a good place for them to be or you. It's drawing from you, and you're not helping them by feeding them. Trust me. You think, oh yeah, hook up to me, I'll help you. You need me, I can help you. No. All they're doing is bypassing their own process. And in doing so, they're harming themselves. And I don't want to be part of somebody harming themselves. I don't want to have attachments that don't serve spirit on the highest level. These are the type of attachments that we talked about at the beginning of the class when we were talking about witchcraft. All right. The type of attachments that are agenda-based, that have to do with controlling will or dominance in some way. These are not the attachments you want in your body. And when you do have these attachments, a lot of times you're sending a double message to the collective. You're saying, it's okay for somebody to steal my energy. And the person that's taking your energy is going, it's okay to take their energy, and I don't have to find my own. So, this is one of the tools that I use for that. And I also have a mental tool that I use. And it's opalite. It was designed by a very aware shaman, medicine worker. I actually believe I got it out of North Carolina. It was a gift. And you can use that to cut the dysfunctional cords. And I do it with my hand. Somebody tries to attach to my will or had a really bad moment or an uncomfortable moment, I'll brush from the will chakra. And you'll see most of the time I'm wearing her shirt, but I'm wearing something close to that part of my body. Even when I'm in groups, a lot of times, or if I'm on any kind of a sacred site, I'm going to wear a sash around my waist, around my root chakra, because I don't want energies coming in and out of that. And now, actually, that makes more sense now that they were talking about the will chakra being the astral travel center. It may also be a way to block unwanted energies and cords coming into the body at that point in time. So yeah, I use that little knife, and he's got it right there in front of that. I also will literally brush myself off with intention. Just brush through that. I've had, one thing that'll happen is people who want to hook up to love energy, but don't want to do it in a way of integrity. They're looking at an attachment. You'll a lot of times get pain in the neck around the base of the skull on both sides. I have it more on the right side. When people try to hook up, they're trying to get to heart energy, but they're trying to do what's called backdooring it, your heart energy. So they're not coming from a balanced place. And really, you're not helping them if you allow them to feed off them. You're really not helping them on the ultimate level, because you're keeping them from working the process that they need to work. So you can use a little ceremonial knife like I use. You can brush yourself off periodically if you feel like somebody is trying to attach to you, or you're feeling an emotion that you know is not yours. Sometimes we have that where somebody's running with something and they're projecting emotion, and you're going, that's not my emotion. I think I'm going to brush off that emotional center and let them handle that emotion. I'm not going to run that emotion for them. Now, this is not true if you're a healer, though. You don't run it internally, but if you're a healer, a lot of times you are setting yourself up as a channel to enter other people's energy fields and work in that way. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about our day-to-day interactions where people approach us with not the highest intention and hook up to our bodies or our systems. And there are definitely ways to put that. And I do my energy field again, like I said, the salt bath. So I'm going to hopefully, I think, leave it at that unless somebody has a question, because I ran really long today.
No.
And I apologize. I kind of got lost in the moment. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
If they wanted to know where the chakra test, they could holler.
Oh yeah, we forgot the chakra test.
Yeah, we do have a chakra test.
But we have one, right? That has to do with the herbs and stuff?
Just find out what is your, block, or if
Okay. I'll see if I can find your test. Yeah, I'll see if I can find your test, but also take into account what we talked about here when we're talking about the blocks in each of the systems. Because we can give you a little test and all of that, but it's almost as much fun to figure it out yourself. Go into your body and say, yeah. But I'll see if I can find a good one online.
Oh, there is a lot.
Yeah, I know there are tons of them. And then if we still want to talk about chakras again, I can do a little more work on 9, 10, 11, and 12, because we went over 8 and 9 a little bit. And here's the problem I'm having with the lunar chakras. Okay, I can't find anything online. I'm talking to my mentor. She sent me, she has this beautiful presentation. She sent it to me, and I thought it would have text with it. It's only pictures.
It's only what?
So I can look at the pictures and kind of remember her presentation, because that was a while back, but I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm kind of unclear on several of these different concepts. But I don't know if you were here, and I can get you up to the lunar chakras, or another set of chakras that feed this way. And there's one down below the root, and there's one at like about where each ovary would be on a woman, and at each nipple. And then there's one, and I think it's slightly above the crown, another one there. And then we were talking about the 12 chakra system, and the fact that a lot of them believe the 8th chakra is also below the body. and the 9th chakra is above the 7th. And so I was talking to her about whether or not how they work together. And I actually had a little bit of a conversation with her last night and today. But there's no literature on these lower chakras. So I either have to find a time to pick her brain, and she lives in Mexico, which is not right now because she has a lot going on in her life, or I need to figure out a way to get some kind of a textual way to explain it a little bit better. I do know I've had it happen in my body, and there's a connection where the two systems come online at the same time, but I really don't know enough about it to speak intelligently yet, but I will. So, if you're still with us, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. And I think next time we'll do chakras. We might throw the test in and a couple of other things if you want to. I don't know. I can't get a whole lot deeper unless we start getting into like a lot of that stuff from like 1500 BC, where it has all the Sanskrit names.
This wonderful drinks.
Yeah.
Right here.
Okay, perfect. I still have mine here. I haven't
Join us next time to try that chai.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna get rid of the mic now. I think. I'm learning.
Oh, you didn't even eat nothing.
No, I know. I you know.
And there's so many.
I know when I'm talking. I can almost never eat. I don't eat
Would you
before.
like to try?
You know, I don't eat before I come either. No, because when I'm in the
Yes,
energies, it's just kind
yes.
of like food just feels
Well, don't
so
mind us
heavy.
eating.
Oh, not at all. In fact, I'm glad. I'm happy because we talked about you can get hangry when you work in energies and you're talking energies.
Before you leave, take a pictures of all
Yes.
of us with
Oh,
wearing
yes. And what I also would like, please, is since I'm doing that conference, I really need a professional picture. If you can, like, get one of me. Probably not in a t-shirt.
Actually a camera.
Probably not in a t-shirt.
He's a photographer.
Mm.
He has a very nice photo
yes.
camera.
Yeah. So if you're gonna wear yours, we can take them all together. But then I'm gonna ask her to see if she can take one of me somewhere with a nice background.
Thank you guys for joining, and we got the shirts. Thank you, Samira, for making this one. You did a good job. Zian Energy Studio is backward here, but that's okay. You see that yoga yin and yang? So we're gonna have a picture with all of us wearing it.
So you get it on the video?
No, we're gonna take a picture still with it. Yes. Okay.
I gotta come
Have a
over
good
there.
day. Yes. Bye, you guys.